The Franklin County coroner has completed the autopsy of Casey Goodson Jr. It confirms 6 bullets struck the 23-year-old in his torso. This right here is a copy of the coroner's report. Attorneys for Goodson's family made it public late this evening. Now, you'll remember last month I actually sat down, spoke exclusively with Casey Goodson's mother, Tamala Payne, and one of her attorneys, Sean Walton. They told me that the result of a private examination that they had conducted, that it showed the information that we just reported to you. At the time, they said they saw a photo of the body. It showed 5 bullet wounds to Goodson's back and his buttocks. Now, Goodson was shot and killed as he entered his family's home on December 4th. He just returned from a dental appointment, walking in the door with Subway sandwiches for his family. Franklin County Sheriff's Deputy Jason Meade killed Goodson. He said Goodson pointed his gun at him. Initially, investigators also said that Goodson waved his gun at members of a U.S. Marshals task force who were in the North Columbus neighborhood. They were looking for a suspect, not Goodson. So many questions because they were the only 2 there on the scene. We were talking about this. You said to our viewers just a moment ago, we've only had this information here for about 20 minutes or so. You have great legal experience as an attorney. What's next? We last met in September as you were preparing for the Prayers for Justice rally. Yes. When we met, you told me you were told this will be a long process. You expected 6 months, then 8 months, then it became 9 months. 363 days later, after your son was shot and killed, you learned of these charges. What are your thoughts?
It was worth it.
Will you talk about the aspect of the grieving process? When we first met, you said you couldn't even think about planning a funeral. You couldn't even think about starting the grieving process. Where are you with that now?
I grieve in spurts. I really don't allow myself to grieve, not right now.
When I first spoke with her 5 days after her son's death, with tears running down her face, she told me she eats, breathes, and sleeps justice. Payne remains hopeful now that Jason Meade is behind bars.
My grandson just got shot.
This Saturday marks 1 year since Franklin County Sheriff's Deputy Jason Meade shot and killed Casey Goodson Jr. It happened at the 23-year-old's family home in North Columbus. Early Thursday morning, the now retired sheriff's deputy surrendered after a grand jury returned an indictment, 2 murder charges, 1 count of reckless homicide. 363 days later, after your son was shot and killed, you learned of these charges. What are your thoughts?
It was worth it to see the charges that came about. The days were torturous, but it was worth it.
The day of the shooting, investigators told reporters a U.S. Marshals task force went to the area in search of a suspect, not Goodson. However, they said Goodson drove past them and waved a gun. The coroner's report shows Meade shot Goodson 6 times, 5 in the back, once in his buttocks. It happened as his family says he returned from a dental appointment, walking through the door with Subway sandwiches. Tamala Payne's attorney says 9 family members were in the house at the time and saw the immediate aftermath of the shooting. Among those relatives, Goodson's grandmother, a 10, 5, 4, and 3-year-old.
They're traumatized. You know, my mother says that every time she closed her eyes, she sees the bullet holes in his back. My 5-year-old son says he can still see, can still hear the glass breaking in his ears. They're traumatized. They still see him laying on the floor. My daughter, who was there, still sees him laying on the floor. So, they're traumatized for life. They're visuals that will never fade away. They'll always be there.
Payne says news of the charges against Meade is just one stop on her path toward justice.
I think we all know that Casey's special. Casey's making history. Casey's going to be the change in Columbus. Casey's going to be the change across our nation. My baby is already making histories.
Investigators told us they did find a gun on Goodson, but would not and still won't tell us where. Now, his family says that's no surprise. They said he was licensed to carry, was responsible, and wanted to be a firearms instructor. This is A.J. Davis. He grew up in Columbus in a basketball family, led his high school team to title games, played college ball, even overseas. Most recently, he played for a semi-professional team in Columbus. You see him in this video encouraging the team at Lyndon McKinley. Well, tomorrow marks 3 months since his life changed in an instant. Tragedy struck as he stopped to help a man in need. Davis would go on to have his legs amputated, spend a week in a medically induced coma, coupled with 2 weeks in isolation because of a COVID diagnosis. May 2nd, A.J. Davis scored 29 points in a game for the minor league professional basketball team, the Columbus Condors. May 5th, his life changed forever.
I'm doing great. I mean, that's everyone's biggest question when they come in contact with me, how I'm doing mentally, spiritually, and physically. I mean, pretty much doing good.
What's been the reaction from people when they see that you have this positive light?
Their response is like, how do you do it? If it was me, I would be angry and mad, but I can't really live my life angry and mad. Like, it's out of my hands.
Davis driving one night with his then 5-year-old daughter in his car. Columbus police say he stopped to get food and drink out of his trunk for a homeless person. That's when
911, where is your emergency?
It's on the exit ramp from 70 on the Hamilton Road. A man just got struck by a car.
It's not me. There was an accident and somebody, it looked like his legs are really broke.
Upon being smashed in the back of my car, I crawled to my front seat to make sure my daughter was okay.
AJ, how does one do that?
I guess it was just adrenaline. I was more focused making sure my daughter was okay more than my sake. And once I got back in the car, I just told myself in my head, like, God, please don't let me die.
Davis survived. The injuries, however, so severe, doctors amputated his legs. That night, and according to this police report, investigators believe the driver might have been under the influence of alcohol and or marijuana.
You could talk to her. What would you tell her?
There's no pain in my heart towards you. I don't hold anything against you. Like, yeah, the situation did change my life, but there's no grudge or anything that I'm holding or hate towards you.
Davis tries to keep busy. James Madison University, where he played college ball, asked him to coach the school's alumni team in July's the basketball tournament. The team held an honorary tip-off. As for questioning the night that changed his life,
it's just a hit or miss. It's like, why me? But then again, I was always taught not to question the man upstairs and his ability and what he has planned for you. So I just pretty much take it day by day and look at it like he has something bigger for me and something planned. Maybe it was a journey for me that I procrastinated too long, and this is what it took for me to take that jump into something different. So I'm not looking at it like that.
What do you know about yourself now that you didn't know before?
I knew I was a strong person. I was built for anything. I could handle any task, but coming out of this situation, I'm like, I pretty much can handle anything now. It's like nothing's going to stop me if I know I can beat it through my mind.
Davis says he is considering therapy for himself and his daughter, who called her mother the night of the crash. We are not naming the driver because she hasn't been charged. I left messages for the Columbus police investigator handling this case. I want to know about the latest with the investigation and why no charges. My calls have not been returned, but he has an incredible spirit here. He's focused on the future. He's in the process of getting fitted for prosthetics. He wants to stay involved with helping young people.
I've told you this before. First of all, I would still be crying every day. I'm crying just watching what he went through, but for him to be so generous to this person who might have been under the influence and did this to him in front of his child, that's remarkable.
And I said to him at one point, how are you not, I'll say, upset? Because
angry,
I'm upset for you.
Furious.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Community Conversations, Real Men, Real Talk. I'm Kerry Charles from NBC4, and this time we are talking about black men talking about mental health. We are about to engage in a conversation that we hope will move the needle about violence in our community.
I'm scared of the cops. Why would I call them?
Elizabeth, this is she wants to work toward education policy, and the emotion of what she said, and I get it, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but holding back so much, it's not fair that young people should have to have this existence.
Yeah, first of all, this is unfair for you to bring me up in this emotional moment. I'm like, let me gather myself first.
With vaccinations against COVID-19 and new guidance from the CDC, life is getting back to normal to some degree. That means the return to in-person activities. A long stay in Central Ohio is getting ready to welcome young campers back to its grounds.
One of the best parts is at the end. They have like this whole gathering called family night,
which is when a camp staple takes center stage.
Isn't it a bit of luck that I was born a baby duck with yellow socks and yellow shoes? I can do whatever I choose. Quack, 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 what, quack, 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 what?
Other camps will operate on the same grounds but will be held in different areas. Fuller suggests parents who are hesitant about sending their kids to any camp should reach out to the camps and ask about protocols and how those efforts will be affected by changing mandates. Now, they do have a few spaces still available. To find out how to get in touch, all you have to do is look for this story on our website, NBC4i.com. I'm thinking we have a little family night here at 5 o'clock. I said I was going to see if I could get Colleen to do a sing-along.
You know, I think people would very much enjoy that, but let's let the anticipation build.
You don't want to quack, quack, quack.
NBC4 anchor Kerry Charles, who helped organize this event, is joining us live now from the Linden Community Center. And Kerry, I guess the giveaway now fully underway, right?
Oh, yes, Colleen, it is underway. Here, I want to show you something. You see the line this way, but it's wrapping around. Matt, come over here so we can show folks. This line is going out of the parking lot and then down onto Briarwood Avenue. A lot of folks are coming out here, a lot of volunteers. It's been such a great community effort. So many people participating in this and so many volunteers. I want to bring over Coach Kevin Darthur. He's the basketball coach over at Linda McKinley, my alma mater, by the way. Go Panthers. Yep. You have your team out here. These young men are working. Why was it important for them to be here?
Just to make sure we're a positive staple in the community.